Peppa Pig is one of the most iconic children's cartoons in history, but it certainly isn't the only one. That's because 5 years after the success of The Little Pink Pig, its creators made another cartoon that also became world famous, called Ben and Holly. But what if I told you that both cartoons are part of the same universe? Would you believe it? More than that, what if I told you that the protagonists of the cartoons have already met several times? Would you buy it?
I see.
Well, that is the absolute truth. In fact, one of these moments happened recently, even after the birth of the newest character in the series, the beautiful baby pig, Evie. In the episode Escalators, the entire pig family is at the mall, including Evie, and they need to go to a bookstore. However, the family accidentally ends up splitting into two groups, with Peppa and Mummy Pig ending up in one bookstore inside the mall, while George and Daddy Pig hitch a ride with Miss Rabbit and end up in a completely different bookstore. And it's exactly at this moment that we can notice that inside this bookstore, where the men of the pig family are, there is a poster where simply our beloved Holly is the main character. If you look really closely, despite it being a decoration item inside the store, we can clearly see that it is indeed our beloved fairy princess, with her pink dress and even her royal crown, a symbol of her nobility in the magical kingdom. And of course, we can't fail to mention her wings. There really are too many things in common with Holly to say that it's another fairy princess, don't you think? And actually, we even managed to discover that the cartoon characters have even been seen in the flesh, bone, and wings. So much so that one of them was even photographed. This definitely proves more than ever that they exist in the same world and might even know each other. At least, some of them know each other, that's for sure. We mentioned happens in the episode Photoshop, where we see Susie asking the store clerk, who is Miss Rabbit, always her, to get her playgroup photos. And at this moment, we see the multitasking rabbit grab the boxes with photos, and we already notice something familiar, which is what looks to be a photo of Gaston, the ladybug that acts like a puppy, even barking and fetching sticks, and is the pet and best friend of both Ben Elf and Princess Holly, with both being considered his owners and caregivers. But we're still not sure about this. However, a few seconds later, when Miss Rabbit slips on a photo of Madame Gazelle, and at this moment, dozens of photos are thrown into the air, and if you pause at the right moment, you will see the completely clear photo. And now we definitely have the confirmation that that really is a photo of Gaston himself. The question is, who took this photo? Do they also know Gaston's owners? Could it be that Miss Rabbit herself photographed the pet ladybug? That would certainly be a great question that we will investigate further and answer in another video here on the channel. But we can already be sure that Peppa Pig and Ben and Holly really are part of the same world. And today, we're going to show you the 10 times they appeared in each other's cartoons. Get ready, because we're going to blow your mind. If you don't have eagle eyes, just like most people, you will definitely miss some of Ben and Holly's appearances on the Peppa Pig show. Let's go now to the episode where the Little Pink Pig's family manages to win the sweepstakes to meet Mr. Potato, and they go to New York, on the other side of the ocean, since Peppa and her friends and relatives live in England.
Once there, they meet the American Miss Rabbit, and she takes them to the tourist spots in her taxi. And while she is driving peacefully through the streets of the biggest city in the United States, if you pause at the right moment and look at a storefront that seems to be a magazine shop, you will find Holly once again. The little fairy princess is gracing the cover of a magazine that is hanging on a sort of clothesline. And you must be missing the appearance of the other protagonist of the animated series about the little magical kingdom. But don't worry, we also found Ben in a somewhat unusual place. This happens in the episode The Library. The moment Mummy Pig starts reading the story of the red monkey, the scene becomes practically an event, and other adults and other children gather to listen to her. And if you look closely, look who is also there to hear the beautiful children's story. He himself, Ben, even if it's only on paper and not in the flesh. We can't deny that it is the elf who is always by the fairy princess's side. And the most interesting thing is that even when we are talking about Ben, we also find his inseparable partner drawn on another prominent decoration item in the library. That's because Holly is right there, just a few feet away from the elf in blue clothes, once again being shown as a prominent character in the world of the Little Pink Pig. It really seems like the Peppa Pig animators are big fans of the other cartoon from the creators of the Little Pink Pig. But they are especially fans of Holly. Don't you agree? The most interesting thing is that if we look at the other end of the wall, another character from a third cartoon by the same creators ends up appearing. Sir Boris, the greatest swordsman in the world from the Big Knights. Now that is what I call a triple reference.
Before we continue, just a quick heads up. If you also enjoy movies, series, and cartoons, click the subscribe button right now, all right?
In the same episode, if we go back a little bit more, we'll see Peppa arriving at the library space dedicated to children. Then we see the little pig browsing and choosing some books. And abracadabra, look who appears again. She herself, the lovely Princess Holly. In fact, if we stop to analyze it carefully, this children's book that Peppa picks up looks very much like the book we saw in the scene where Holly appears on a clothesline inside the New York store, only with a pink cover instead of a green one. Maybe they are the same book, just different editions. However, by watching more episodes of Peppa Pig, we discover that other characters besides Ben, Holly, and also Gaston have appeared in moments of the Little Pink Pig's show. In the episode World Book Day, the family is deciding which book will be read, and everyone was disagreeing, until Mummy Pig suggested that they read The Little Magical Fairy. By itself, this would already be a gigantic reference to the world of Ben and Holly, after all. Practically all the history and adventures of the duo take place exactly in the Little Fairy Kingdom. But to confirm 100% that the reference is on purpose and is made as a tribute to the cartoon of the Little Magical Kingdom, if you look closely at the cover of the book, you will see that the fairy in the story wears a purple dress and holds a magic wand. With this information, we were able to identify that the person on that cover is none other than Nanny Plum.
She is the maid of King and Queen Thistle and works as a teacher and nanny for Princess Holly and her younger sisters, the twins Daisy and Poppy. And this was certainly a beautiful tribute to someone who has such an important job. Once again in Peppa's house, we managed to find another great reference to the Ben and Holly series. Actually, we could even say that it's a double reference. It all happens in the episode Bedtime Story, when Daddy Pig is at the foot of the two little pig siblings' bunk bed, and we can see an open book in his hands. And many didn't even notice, but if you look specifically at the contents of the book, you will find the sensational appearance of none other than Ben and Holly themselves once again. However, if you zoom in on the image, you will notice something extremely interesting. Apparently, it's no longer the child Ben and Holly that we see in the animated series, but rather them in their adult versions. The reason for this conclusion is simple. We can see the two of them a bit taller, and at the same time, note that Ben is wearing a crown, just like Holly, indicating that he became the king of the magical kingdom. Which means that the two got married at some point in the future, since even though Princess Holly is part of the fairy royalty, she is the daughter of King and Queen Thistle and lives in a castle, Ben Elf comes from a family of ordinary working elves, with his father being a sailor and his mother a housewife. For the Ben and Holly fans who never had their series finished, this is definitely a pretty shocking revelation, don't you think? But I always thought they belonged together. Going now to the episode Once Upon a Time, we see once again, right off the bat, Peppa and George leafing through a book. And look who is there again on one of the pages of the story. She herself, Princess Holly. The interesting thing about this scene is that we can notice that someone, at some point, made a logic mistake in it. That's because if you observe carefully, shortly before Peppa opens the book and shows the page where Holly is printed, we can see the cover of the book that is still on the floor. And you can clearly see that the book is a Little Red Riding Hood tale. And, as far as I know, in this specific story, there is no presence of fairies. Don't you agree? Because of that, we can say that the scene was a little bit different, to say the least. To wrap up our list of references to Ben and Holly, let's go to the episode Hospital. And it really seems like the little elf and his magical fairy friend are very famous in the world of the Little Pink Pig. Since when all the kids use the elevator to get to the floor where Pedro Pony is hospitalized with his leg in a cast, we'll notice that the entire decoration of the children's ward of the hospital is a tribute to the Little Magical Kingdom series. We can see the main characters of the cartoon painted on the wall, which are Ben, Holly, and Gaston, besides Bobby B, who is also part of the protagonist duo's circle of friends. Now really, this is what I call a complete reference.
We've reached the end of this video, but if you like having your mind blown, this is the right place. That's why we left 2 really good videos for you to click, watch, and best of all, stay with us.